Yo, Caesar here, and first thing first, what you are about to see for this race is a post-race com on the race that we just had at Laguna Seca. The issue was I was able to stream, but for some reason my voice didn't record, even though I kept commentating for the entirety of it, and yeah, no one was able to check it while I was on the comp box. So there is a stream, definitely, but there's no voice to it. So here I am, doing commentary on the race, and hopefully the actions that was missed during the live race, I should be able to get this time, and hopefully with the com in place. So yeah, I'll see you during the race. So here we are, all lined up for only one of the two real world circuits that we have this season. 14 drivers ready to take on Laguna Seca in the United States. And oh, we have a glitch here from Dheeraj. We had a similar glitch from him last week as well, and that has closed up the grid by quite a bit. And now I think we are off. Yes, Mahib has taken P1 by default, courtesy the glitch Dheeraj had, but he has pulled away quite a big gap from PRX Skinny, who is on the racing mediums. He is starting on racing soft, so this will give him a good opportunity to pull away a gap from Skinny, who's on the mediums. Further back, Flipper is on the soft, so he will be looking to attack, and he already is. He is side by side into turn 2, but a bit of a contact, and Skinny is able to hold on to his positions. Further back down the field, everyone is in a single file, quite close to each other. Ancient Flip starting from P7, he will be looking to make the moves as quickly as possible. Everyone else behind, no problems as such. Dheeraj Edge is still going in circles, so that is race pretty much over from him. Further up the field, Mahib has pulled a bit of a gap from Skinny, and that's quite understandable judging by the tire compound choice that he's starting from. Skinny, meanwhile, not very much effort being put in this livery, except Mikhail Hazal on the bonnet, and quite an interesting sponsor on the back of his Beetle, but maybe that will help him speed up tonight. We'll have to wait and see how his race goes. Further down the field, Flipper is pulling away from this gap. Red Dot Blue, who is on the racing hards, will be looking to defend from Clownster, as Dheeraj Edge is still going round. This is a bit of a dive bomb, and what is this? Oh no! There's a contact between him and who was that? Clownster? And Clownster has suffered the most out of that. You can see there's a damage on RKV's car from the front and at the back. Maybe there was a collision from behind, and yes, you can see by the front bumper there was a bit of an impact, and that has resulted in the front bumper damage on the Porsche. Stashy in the BMW is suffering from damage, and so is Glenn on the racing medium. He is our race winner from last week, remember, but P8, it's a decent position as of now. He's starting on racing medium, so he has quite a bit of a time to make a comeback on this race. Further back, any battles that we can see? Not really, but Clownster is right at the back. But something happened with Monk as well. Not really sure what happened there. Must have been involved in some sort of incident, as Dheeraj is still going round in circles. Mahib has pulled up a bit of a gap, but I don't think that's big enough. Let's see. Yeah, he's still not too far off, judging by the fact that he did start on the racing soft, and he goes a bit wide on the final corner. Will not help his cause as much. And for the back, we see Stashy is sending it down the inside, and yeah, he has succeeded that. Pushed RKB just a bit, but not enough to put him into the gravel. So that's a very bold move, and fair play to RKB by giving him all the room that he needed. So that's a fair and aggressive move by Stashy there, and well done by RKB as well, not closing down the door. What is the tire compound is he on? Racing hards compared to medium, so yeah, that explains why he was able to break that late and send it down the inside. So strategically played maybe by RKB, letting him through. And why is Fun anywhere so slow? Right, he's taking the corner. So he is the only one in the Mazda Interesting choice here, and so is Village Racer, as Clownster and Monk both are in the pits really early. Maybe they getting rid of the harder compounds, use swords and try to catch up to these guys. As we see further up the field, Ancient Pleb making a move on Red Dot Blue. Red Dot Blue, who's on the racing hard, seems to be struggling compared to the drivers around him, but will the BMW of Stashy make a move here? Not at this corner. No, but Stashy will have the inside line, but will he send it on the inside? He will go for the move. But they're still side by side, but will Red Dot Blue fire it? No, he decides to let him through. So that's two really impressive moves from Stashy in 2 laps, as Dheeraj Edge is still going around in circles. RKV is on the racing hard and he has managed to catch up to Red Dot Blue. Red Dot Blue doesn't seem to be a big fan of this track by the looks of it. He is falling down the order. Archie meanwhile is up into P9. He started from almost back of the grid, but a good progress from Archie. Fun Anywhere again is quite a far back. Let's stick to the battle that we have here for P6. Red Dot Blue has lost 2 positions to Ancient Pleb and Stashy over just under 1 lap, and he is now under attack from RKV in the Mitsubishi and Glenn in the Mercedes. So quite an interesting mix of constructors that we have. We can see Mazdas, Renaults, Mitsubishi, Subarus, Porsches, Volkswagens, Mercedes. So I don't really think that we've seen so many manufacturers competing against each other in a single race. So this is good to see. Good variety of cars that we have here, and we'll be able to see how these cars perform. As Flipper goes really deep and almost loses his car, but manages to hold on to it. And Stashy says thank you very much. He'll have P4. No problem. As he goes deep inside, and now there's a bit of a contact between him and Red Dot Blue, and that will give some damage. Yes, there you can see on the front bumper and the front right, and Red Dot Blue is now losing even more positions and now under attack from Archie in the racing medium. So this race is not going as well as Red Dot Blue would have hoped for, but still a long race to go. Anything can happen. We'll have to wait and see, and judging by the pace that he has shown in the past, he can definitely make some moves as the race progresses. Further up the field, we can see the battle for P1 is now definitely on. Skinny, who is on the racing mediums compared to Mahip's racing soft, will be on the attack and will be looking to make the move as soon as possible, because as of now Skinny is definitely held up behind Mahip. So Mahip, who's running a Herbie livery, will be defending with all his might and not let Skinny through. The longer he holds up Skinny, the better it will be for his race result towards the end. So Skinny is still looking away past Mahip. Ancient Pleb has gained a lot of positions from the start, and this is just lap 5, remember, so he will be closing down the gap to the front runners as they both battle and lose even more time to Pleb. Down the field, RKV has pulled up a bit of a gap to Glenn in P5 over race 1 winner. Red Dot Blue is still in P6, but he is under attack from Archie. Fun Anywhere has made up his way up to P8. Village Racers up into P9. So Stashy has lost positions here. We seem to have missed what happened with him, but whatever happened, yeah, you can see he's going into the pits, so definitely he must have been involved in some incident. Clownster, who was spun around by... who was it? I can't even recall now. Was it Stashy? I don't know. I just forgot. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, he was involved in an incident. Was spun around. I think it was lap 1 or lap 2. But yeah, he is making his way up on the racing mediums. Up the field, Fun Anywhere has managed to close down the gap to the battle that's going on in the front between Red Dot Blue, Archie, Glenn and RKV. Archie has been able to make his move on Red Dot Blue, so the race is not going as well as he would have hoped for, as he is losing positions lap after lap, but still a long way to go. People could be involved in further incidents, you never know, and he could be very well up the order. One surprise who is down the order is Mr. Consistent, Wildest Monk here, someone who who we are used to see fighting up the order, and usually finishes in the top 5 if he's not on the podium. He has a race win under his belt, by the way, in season 1, when race wins were being shuffled around. Abby to Speed, who isn't here, our season 1 champion and ancient player. He was the only other driver besides those two to have won the race. So running last will not do good to his confidence, but it's still a long race to go, and we could see him move further up the grid order. Meanwhile, Mahib is doing really well. His tire weight is pretty shabby at the moment compared to the racing medium that Skinny is on, but he's doing really well to defend from Skinny, who is right on his rear bumper for quite a while now. But we'll have to wait and see what Skinny does. Further down the field, Ancient Pleb has managed to close on the gap on the front two. Back the order, RKV is pulling away just a bit, I think. Yeah, the gap has been formed, and Glenn, Archie and Red Dot Blue, they are fighting each other. There's a bit of a tap from Red Dot Blue that forces Archie to go a bit deeper than he would have hoped for, but no damage as such. Village Racer has managed to catch up to those guys, and so is Fun Anywhere. We'll be looking to close up even further, and from the map we can see Ancient Pleb has managed to catch up, and even further up the field for the fight for the lead still continues. Mahib defends down the inside, nothing that Skinny can do here. Overtaking there is a bit difficult, and you really have to nail that turn 1 and 2. And oh no, there's a spin. Skinny goes and hits the curb on the outside of the track, and that has resulted him in spinning out, and Ancient Pleb gets a free position due to Skinny spinning around. But this will also give RKV a step onto the podium place as of now, so he is in a genuine P3 positions. None of the top 4 or top runners here have made a pit stop, so that is a genuine P3. RKV is in, and Skinny won't be happy with that. He has been fighting quite hard to get the lead off Mahib, but Mahib has been defending really well there, not allowing Skinny to go through. So well done to Mahib there. That was totally Skinny who made the mistake, and nothing Mahib can be blamed for, unless there was some contact which is not very much visible on the stream, as Archie breaks really late. He's on the mediums, and so is Glenn, but tire management wise Subaru is doing exceptionally well compared to Mercedes. Here you can see the tire wear between both these manufacturers, so Mercedes maybe not the car of choice for this track, and Village Racer has managed to catch up to Archie. Mahib is in the pits, and so is RKV. So Mahib has done really well on the softs to pit at the same time as Archie and Village Racer both go on the throttle really early. Archie will have damage, and yes, you can see the engine damage Archie has. So this will really hamper his lap time, especially when that happened at the start of the lap. So he will literally limp down to the pit lane, and that will hurt his chances to score good points tonight. Meanwhile, Red Dot Blue has managed to go up to P3. Someone who was struggling at the start of the race has managed to move up quite a bit. Skinny is who was on the attack for the lead of the race, is now under defense from Village Racer, who was on the racing hard. So definitely there is a tire advantage here in the hands of Village Racer, and Skinny should look to try to put in consistent laps. I mean, the race lead temporarily is off now, but nothing is lost. He still has racing soft tire compounds to use, so everyone has to use all the tire compounds here, or else risk getting time penalty added to the lap time, as Village Racers almost loses it but manages to catch on to his Renault, and that is a lot of fun anyway to close up on Village Racer. So this is turning out to be quite an interesting battle, as we see Skinny is going into the pits. So where will Mahib come out in respect to Skinny? We'll have to wait to see. But I think, yeah, with the incident that Skinny had, I think Mahib will be comfortable taking the position away from Skinny. He has Fun Anywhere managed to close on the gap on Village Racer, Will he go for a late lunge? He's not too close enough, and I think the Village Racer will stay in P4. In P1, I mean, nothing that anyone should be surprised of. He is in P1 on Racing Hard, so if he can manage to pull away a gap from Glenn and Red Dot Blue, who are fighting each other at the moment, this seems like a pretty easy victory for Ancient Pleb, and everyone, you know, secretly feels that Ancient Pleb is, you know, and not feel, I mean, they know that Ancient Pleb is one of the quickest driver in the league, and the longer they can hold him back, the better it will be for them to have a shot at the race. But as of now, it's a long race to go, and anything can happen. Ancient Pleb can still bottle it, but that's a very rare case when that happens. Glenn, meanwhile, is defending from Red Dot Blue. He's on the worn-out mediums compared to Red Dot Blue's hard, so definitely. And there's a bit of again for the second time, Red Dot Blue is getting hit off that same corner. It was a Subaru, I believe. Who was that guy who hit Red Dot Blue again? But whoever it was, Red Dot Blue has been a victim for the second time this race, and you can see he's still struggling to get his car on track, and now he has to go in the pits. He has no choice, and maybe get his repairs and see how he can progress from there. RKV in P6, he is on the fresh racing mediums, and you can see, oh, Stash is all over the place. I think he went onto the throttle a lot earlier than he would have hoped for. And we are in lap 11, but he's under attack from RKV, and yeah, he has to concede that position to him and hold on to P6 for now. Maybe use his pace advantage that he has over RKV at this stage, but yeah, I don't think that is the case here, because RKV is on the fresh medium compared to his worn-out soft. So he's in the attack from Skinny now. Skinny, who was fighting for the lead of the race, is behind Stashy, and we'll be looking to take away P6. Further down the grid. Oh, there's... Who was that? Who's that? Subaru? Why? I think that's Red Dot Blue, to whom I cannot go for some reason, but Red Dot Blue must have made some mistake, and yeah, now we are here. So he is on the fresh mediums, and yeah, some mistake must have happened, and that has allowed Monk to go up into P10. P10 is the last point paying position for the race, and Red Dot Blue will do everything to finish in the top 10, as Fun Anywhere is finally into the pits. Further up the field, the battle for where are we on Stashy? Battle for P5 is still going on. Rather, it's a battle for P3. Mahip is on the racing hards, and we can see RKV is flashing, so he feels he is quicker, and he will hope that Mahip will make it easy for him to let him through. But as we've seen, as he almost sends it down the inside, and yeah, there is some contact that will give him damage, and yeah, we can see Mahip and RKV both suffering from rear and front bumper damages as a result of that, so that will not help RKV, as Stashy again loses it. So Stashy is losing his back end quite a lot here. He is pushing too hard, and you can see RKV has managed to overtake him, and now he's been made into a sandwich here between Skinny and Stashy. And there's a little bit of a push from Skinny to Stashy. So if it's not Stashy who's making a mistake, it's someone else pushing him onto the gravel. So will that go to the stewards? I'm not really sure, but yeah, that was definitely Skinny who really pushed his Beetle through the corner, and that did not so well, and Stashy is once again into the gravel. So this race is not going well, as he suffers engine damage, so this is definitely a pit stop for him. So quite an argy-bargy that's going on here. Skinny, who I believe he believes that he has the pace around here in the Beetle, is pushing his way through the field, and maybe that's Mikhail Hizal's face that's doing all the trick and give him all the pace on the track here. So he's up into P3. Pleb is yet to pit. He is still on the racing hards, remember, but he has a massive advantage to the guys in P2 and P3, so he can make a pit stop and possibly come back out in P1. RKV is defending, not really defending, but yeah, he will be on the defense. His eyes will be on the rearview mirror on Skinny's Beetle, who is hounding him for one lap now. How will that cope up? We'll have to wait and see. Mahip, meanwhile, has lost some ground to Skinny, but that's understandable. He's on the racing hearts, but he's now under attack from the Mitsubishi of Clownster. Clownster, who lost a lot of positions at the race start, courtesy the spin that he had. But he's side by side now, and he's managed to overtake Mahip. But will Mahip fight him here? He is on the outside, and yeah, he breaks late, and yeah, he managed to defend that. So that's a really good defense from Mahip. Fair play, but now he loses back in just a bit on the entry. He will have to defend again through the final corner and to the approach of turn 1 with Clownster is going in, so that's a sigh of relief for Mahip. Skinny, meanwhile, is still fighting for P2. Will he send it down the inside, as Skinny is known for his long lunges from season 1. RKV just goes a bit wide, but not wide enough to let Skinny through. So this is really good drive from RKV, who's on a harder compound compared to Skinny. So that's a job well done. Let's have a look at any of the battle that's going on behind. Fun Anywhere and Village Racers are having quite a silent race here. No battles as such. Both of them are on Mazda and Renault. They are the only one driving these cars. These manufacturers rather. Monk has made his way up to P7, and Red Dot Blue, who's on the same manufacturer, is in P8. So maybe these two are playing a team game, even though they are officially not in the same team. Pleb, meanwhile, has made his first pit stop, but he will comfortably come back out again in P1. So yeah, maybe the Subarus are working together, making their way up the field using each other's slipstream. Maybe that's the case, but maybe I'm just taking a wild guess. And the battle for P9 is now between Clownster and Glenn. Glenn is on the racing hard compared to Clownster's soft, so yeah, Clownster will definitely pull away from Glenn on this stint. But still, I think Glenn has his racing softs yet to use, so he will close on the gap as the race progresses. Further up the field, we can see here the fight for P2 is still continuing, as Skinny has managed to take the lead here. Will he come in front of Ancient Pleb? I don't think so, because Ancient Pleb has the shorter route to take on the exit of turn 2. And yeah, there he is. So Pleb has come back out on P1, and now we could possibly see him pull away a gap, and possibly never see him on the stream again. So there you go for the final time. And that's with that, yeah. Right, so Skinny has managed to overtake RKV. Not really sure how he did that, but he has pulled up quite a bit of a gap to Skinny. But yeah, Skinny has some engine damage, right? So something that we didn't notice here. So possibly Skinny and RKV had an incident that made RKV go a bit deep into the corner. That's just my assumption here, but maybe that's what must have happened. But RKV and Mahip will close down the gap on Skinny. As we see Mahip go on the outside. What move was that? That was quite a lunge on the outside from Mahip, and he managed to make that move stick. And look at Fun Anywhere coming out of nowhere, and Mahip gets no penalty. So that was a legitimate move on the outside of Cogs. So that has to be a move of the season, if I can say that. That was quite a brilliant move from Mahip, who is in his first race. Actually, this is a second race. Yeah, he was there last week as well. Managed to not finish the race, but that was a brilliant move from him. As we see, Red Dot Blue is on a defensive line here. Any incident, any damage? No damage on his car, so maybe just taking that line for the sake of it. Monk is up into P5, a position that we are used to see him, but still a long race to go. Anything can happen here, as we are over halfway race distance now. So at the end of 16 laps, Ancient Pleb is leading. Mahip is defending from Fun Anywhere. Fun Anywhere has the inside line, but Mahip is ghosting here. He's not taking the corner as quickly as others would like, but maybe that's how his pace works, and he's still defending. Mahip is, and that has allowed Mahip to lose a couple of positions here, and Village Racer says thank you very much, and files up behind Fun Anywhere. So Mazda and Renault are doing rather well here, and Mahip who made a very impressive move in the last lap that caused Clue falls down to P4. So he is a hard racer, as we've seen in his defense and in his attack, which he can rightly do so. Of course, he doesn't have to give way to drivers who could be on fresher compound or on a different strategy. But yeah, he is a hard racer, and this is what we would like to see: be hard and be fair most of the times. Right, so Clownster, who had a spin, has closed on the gap on the two Subarus up in the front, but he is on the racing soft compared to the mediums the Subarus are on. So that explains as he sends it down the inside, thinks of the move, but then has to back out, and he will definitely not make any move here as he falls right behind Red Dot Blue, but now he will have the inside, and Red Dot Blue gives him all the space, and with the better traction Clownster has on the soft, he will make the move stick, but that will turn to the outside for him now. Will Red Dot Blue defend? No, he just lets him through, and I think that's a pretty smart move from Red Dot Blue. He is on a different strategy, and you can see the pace difference that he realized he has over Clownster. It's better to let him through and run your own race. And for the up the field, we see Wildest Monk is making a move on Mahib. Will Mahib defend that? I don't think Mahib will do that this time, as yeah, he is on 1 hearts compared to... Oh no, but he is fighting it back on the exit. So Mahib is giving us quite an interesting battle, and there's a bit of a damage here, but no damage on him and no damage on Mahib's car as well. So Mahib is making the race quite interesting for us, as he's flashing his lights, maybe not happy with something or just flashing it for the sake of it. But yeah, quite an interesting race that we're getting to see here from Mahib. Right, further up the field, we saw behind Wildest making a pit stop. There he is, down into P11 as of now. Archie is in P12, and Flipper, who's on a controller by the way, his wheel is having some issues, so he's driving on the controller. So cheers to him for sticking this long on a set of on a pad rather, not a set of tires. What am I saying? Battle for P2 meanwhile between Fun Anywhere and Village Racer is still continuing. Fun Anywhere doing quite an impressive job of defending. You can see there he is using the defensive line, and but Village Racer will have a better run here, but he parks the bus beautifully on the exit, does Fun Anywhere, and he will hold on to P2 for now. Further down the field, Clownster is in a pretty comfortable position in P4, and so is Red Dot Blue and Mahib. Fuel wise, I think, yeah, he will make his pit stop now. Tire wise, it's not that bad, but yeah, fuel, he is almost out of it, so he will be in the pits pretty soon. Glenn, I think he made his pit stop recently, and he will continue and take away P6 from Mahib. And Fun Anyways in the pits, by the way, and so is Mahib, so we'll see a switch in compounds from them. Down the field, Stashy, who's not having the best of the races, he's off the track more often than not, and now yeah, he's into the pits again. Skinny, who was fighting for P1 at one point of time, is down into P7, but that's quite good positions being, or rather should I say, he's being holding on to a high grid order as of now, but we are 19 laps down on this race already. I believe we can have around 10 laps, maybe 11 laps more out of this race. I could be wrong, but yeah, around 10 laps we can see. Monk, who made his pit stop, is down out on the racing soft, so he will definitely pull away and close down the gap on Glenn ahead. So Wildest Monk, who didn't have the best of the race start tonight, is up into P6, and this is something that we see consistently every week from Monk. Skinny is under attack from Fun Anywhere, who's on the fresh soft, and pretty soon we could see the battle for P7 brewing up yeah, rather well. RKV, who made his pit stop I think a couple of laps back, has closed on the gap on Skinny. He is on the racing soft himself, but a bit of back from the battle for P7 between Skinny and Fun Anywhere. Glenn is in the pits on the racing hard, so he should be switching over to maybe racing mediums if he has to use it. We'll have to wait and see. Further up the field, there's a battle for P2 going on between the Village Racer and Clownster. Will constantly down the inside. Yeah, he thinks about it and he sends it, gives him a tap, and Village Racer manages to hold on to his P3, and that was quite an aggressive move from Clownster, who could be visibly frustrated after the lap 1 or maybe lap 2 incident at the final corner of Laguna Seca, where he was facing the wrong way of the track. But still, he's up into P2, so that's quite a good pace shown from him. He is aggressive in his moves, and maybe that's what's needed to finish high up on the order as possible. Village Racer is on the racing medium, so he will pretty much close on the gap after maybe a lap or two, judging by the tire compound difference that they have. Red Dot Blue is up into P4. Who was falling down when he was on the racing hard is making his way up the order, which is good to see from his point of view. Monk is on the... Oh, we see Clownster and Village Racer there in the pits, so Monk will be up on the podium place very soon. Monk, who was P last, I remember, at one point of time, is up into P3. So yeah, consistent pace that we see from him is what really helping him pull up positions after positions, lap after lap. Fun anyway is doing pretty well. We haven't seen much fighting from him or him fighting with anyone else, but as long as he's gaining positions, I don't think the master driver will complain tonight. RKV, someone who's quite consistent himself in the midfield group, is in P5 at the moment. Glenn is in P6 on the fresh soft. BMW driver who is taking a lot of excursion, as we see hitting the gravel once again, is behind him in P9. So both of them are on the racing soft. We could see quite an interesting battle between them if Stashy manages to keep it on the track, and on that occasion he does. So well done from him. Mahib, who was leading the race and who got pole courtesy Dheeraj's glitch, is now down to P10, so this will not do world of good for his confidence tonight, but P10 is still very good for him, as Skinny is closing down the gap to Mahip, and maybe we could see a battle between these two very soon, as we did see at the earlier part of the track. Archie is down into P12, and yeah, not a race to be remembered from Archie. Flipper, meanwhile, who's still on a controller, we can see by the steering inputs, is down into P last, but he's still holding on. Ancient Pleb is way off into distance to P1, so no point staying there. Once again, Red Dot Blue is comfortable in P2 all by himself, as this is Yellow who is spinning. I see someone spinning on the map, and I think someone... Was that Flipper? How will I... No, I'm sorry, I paused the stream there. Right, so Ancient Pleb is in the pits once again. Let me just, yeah, go back to this camera angle. So Ancient Pleb is in the pits, quite comfortable. He will be out in the lead. Red Dot Blue is at the corkscrew all by himself. Fun anyways coming up to the corkscrew now. Clownster Knight, Wireless Monk, Village Racer are in their comfortable positions in the top 6, but this is the only battle that we have anywhere down the field that we can see any battle. No, so this is the only battle that we have between us for P7 between Glenn and Stashy. Stashy has managed to make the move on Glenn somewhere on the track that we missed, but Stashy will be happy with the P6. Both are on the same compounds, remember, and that's a move purely based on the pace, so tire compounds cannot be faulted there. But Stashy has a penalty to his name, something Glenn will not complain about. Maybe Stashy needs to slow down just a bit to get rid of that penalty, as we see a Subaru coming out of the pit stop. That must be Red Dot Blue. Where, yeah, there he is. So where is he? He has come out up into P5 right in front of Village Racer and behind Wildest Monk. So Red Dot Blue has not been able to overtake his Subaru teammate here. The undercut worked really well for Monk, as he has pulled up quite a bit of a gap from Red or Blue. That gap wasn't that big before the pit stop. As you see, Ancient Pleb is now running off the final corner, and Fun Anyways at the corkscrew. So quite a big gap there. And as you all expected, Ancient Pleb will pull away into the distance even further now. Any battles? No close battles as yet, but Stashy has pulled a bit of a gap to Glenn behind him, and now we can see he has got rid of his penalties. So now he can think of really pushing his BMW through the corners and pull up a gap to Glenn, who is behind him, who won the race quite comfortably rather last week in Sardinia, but race not going according to his plan tonight. Down the field, RKV, who is down in P9. The race not going as well as he would have hoped for, judging by the pace that he has in this league. But still, every week the race doesn't go as you intend it to be. So maybe it's just a blip we can hope for. And next week he will be back even stronger. Mahib is in the final points ping position. Remember, P10 is the last point position in this league based on the point system that we have. Skinny has fallen behind Mahib by quite a bit, but that's because he has made a pit stop and is on the racing hards compared to Mahib's medium. So that explains why the gap is increasing again and again. And Archie, who's on the medium, could very well be in the attacking zone of Skinny. You never know, but we'll have to wait and see how Archie manages his Subaru as the race progresses. Fun Anywhere is still on his own, but he's in the pits now, so fuel definitely an issue there for him. Where will he come out after this pit stop? We'll have to wait and see. So not a lot of time left, maybe 4 or 5 minutes left on this race. So 3 to 4 laps more to go. Clownster, who's under attack from Monk. Monk is on the fresher compound of softs compared to Clownster, so could Monk finish on in P2? We'll have to wait and see. Clownster will have to defend by all his might in the final stages of this race. Red Dot Blue is doing quite well after falling down the order at the start of the race. He has managed to stay out and up into P4, so that will be a good haul of points if he manages to finish in P4 at the checkered flag. Village Racer, who is a reserve, remember, he is the only reserve tonight. Just like last week, he has been doing pretty well this week as well. So consistency is the key here. That has allowed him, and staying out of trouble, of course, and that has allowed him to stay up into P5. Fun Anyway, who was in P2 when he made his pit stop, is now down in P6, but the fresher tire, and that too racing soft, he will pull away from RKV and Glenn, who are on the worn out softs, both of them. Mahib, meanwhile, is drifting around turn... was it turn 2? No, that's in the second sector. Not really sure what turn that is. But Stashy, meanwhile, is right behind Mahib. And how will Mahib defend that? We'll have to wait and see. So now, coming up to the corkscrew, will Mahib attempt the same move on the outside? We'll have to wait and see. He breaks late. He is trying that move again, and for the second time. I think that was too late of a break as compared to the last time that we saw from him, but he still went for the attempt in order to defend that, but worked the first time, didn't work the second time as well. But that has allowed Skinny to catch up to him. But will Skinny make a move on Mahib in the final stages of the race? We'll have to wait and see. And now Stashy can pull away a gap from them. Further up the field, you can see he is pushing now. He's pushing RKV to go even faster. Pleb, meanwhile, the advantage that he has decided to make another pit stop. So he wants a fastest lap point as well. So every point matters in this competition. So this is what he's doing. As for anyways, on the inside of RKV, and has he made the move stick? Yes, he has. So now will RKV defend it, or how RKV will defend that? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, the tire advantage that Fun Anywhere has, you can see how much time he has gained on the exit of that corner before the corkscrew, and he will pull away even further now. And RKV has to be content with P7. It's not bad considering where he was at the start and the midpoint of the race. So P7 is pretty good comeback, we can say. But speaking of comebacks, a good comeback we see here is from the Wildest Monk, who has managed to make his move on Clownster. So he was P last at the start of the race, and he's up into P2. So Mr. Consistent showing here why he got this tag in this league. So pretty good drive, pretty solid drive from Wildest Monk, who finished second in season 1, remember, behind Abbey to Speed. But Clownster is now under attack from another Subaru here, who's on a fresher set of softs compared to the Red Dot Blue here. But will Red Dot Blue send it down the inside? Not really. So Clownster has, I think, just one more lap after this to defend from the charging Subaru behind him. How this battle will go on for the final step on the podium, we'll have to wait and see here. Down the field, Village Racer has solidified his P5 here, unless he makes any further mistakes. Fun Anywhere, who is in the Mazda, is doing quite well in P6. Who he was up into P2, but that was mainly due to the strategy that drivers had around him. So P6 is still nevertheless a good position. RKV in P7, Glenn in P8, Stashy, not the cleanest of race on him, is down into P9. Judging by his pace, he should have been a bit higher than P9. Skinny, who was fighting for the lead of the race, is down in P10. He'll still take a point from this race, but disappointing race is what he will feel. Mahib is down in P11 and Archie is into P12, so these two will score no points whatsoever. I think this is the final lap for Ancient Pleb, who rarely got any screen time, courtesy his dominance in this race once again. Monk in P2, he will finish there, but this is the only battle and the interesting battle that we have on our hand. Will Red Dot Blue on his fresher softs do everything in his might to send it down the inside of Clownster? He has limited opportunities now to take P3 away from Clownster and make a Subaru 2 and 3. So it's a Mitsubishi versus Subaru, the battle that we've had for decades now, that which is the better manufacturer when it comes to their tuning department. Will it be the Evolution or will it be the STI? But at the moment it looks the Evolution or the Mitsubishi is doing what it needs to do to stay up in front of Red or Blue, as Ancient Pleb has managed to finish the race, so that's well done to him. Monk will finish P2, but now will there be a final lunge from Red Dot Blue at the final corner? No, he decides against it, so Clownster will finish now in P3. What a brilliant defensive drive from him for the 2 laps, and now Clownster will finish in P3. Red Dot Blue close behind in P4. That's quite a good drive from both the Subaru driver in Red Dot Blue and Monk. Village Racer, consistent as he is, that he has shown over the last 2 races, finishes in P5. Fun Anywhere in P6, RKV in P7. There you go. Glenn in P8, and Stashy, the final finisher of the race, finishes in P9, with Skinny rounding off the point, finishes in P10. Mahib finished in P11, and Archie in the final position at P12. Fastest lap goes to, as always, not a surprise, Ancient Pleb. So that's a bonus point for him at the end, so he takes home maximum 26 points at the end of the race. So it was quite an interesting race, a bit of an argy-bargy here, contact between multiple drivers, but nothing major seen on the stream yet, but we'll have to wait and see how the driver responds to the stewards at the end. So this has been Laguna Seca, round 3 of season 2 in Proximity GT Sport Racing League. Next week we in the Dragon Trails in Super GT's car. That's Group 2 if in GT Sport terms. So Group 2 cars in Dragon Trail, bringing back the death chicane, and how many will dare to take that chicane flat out? Very much possible in Group 2 cars, but how many will actually dare to take it lap after lap? We'll have to wait and see. So this has been Caesar, who brought you the stream post-race once again, because somehow the stream didn't record my voice. Signing off, and hopefully next week there will be no voice issues, and the stream will be live for everyone to see. So until next week, it's Caesar, and goodbye.